but that's why I am a different alias. So
I mean, I literally use it for improv and pictures of my dogs, and that's about the extent of what I do. So, like, there's really nothing else. Because I don't get into like politics and arguments. Like, I don't have the energy for all of that. So, and people are like, I get so sick of reading other people's stuff. I'm like, well, don't read it. Like, I feel like it's a choice, people. Just scroll past it. When I get sad, I just go look up weird animal videos, and then that's all good. So. And then I'm like watching them for like 40 minutes. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I'm finding out like abandoned dog on side of road, and then I follow that video. Well, because it's always gets better, right? And then the next video, pity with no pause. I'm like, what? How's the dog have to? This is what happens. This is what happens to me on Facebook. So that's what I do with it. So
does it escalate and get more and more extreme sympathy then as you go on?
Sometimes
like
they do, and then there'll be like one in between, like this dog's in love with his teddy bear, and he's like laying with it. So it's like if once you watch one, it just starts recommending more, and then eventually you'll get like some weird video, and that'll stop me. But I'll get like some weird video, like I'm just kind of messed up from there. So I'm gonna record this as well, just in case Facebook is a total ass and doesn't do what it wants to do. And Kale is trying to build up our YouTube channel because we have like 45 subscribers versus like 6,000. We're at like 6,600 subscribers. I was like, Kale, I'm gonna do a campaign to get us to 6,666 subscribers before Halloween. I'm like, maybe that won't feel good everywhere in the world, so I'm not going to do that. Just striving for numbers that relate to the devil is probably not good for everyone. So
completionism.
I often get those 3 sequential numbers in order, and I think it's good luck. So
well, there you go.
Like often. It is very often that I get those 3 6s and like when I go to pay for things. And I know people that are very superstitious. They're like, I have to buy something else, like, something or another. I'm not. I'm just like, I need to go. If I win the lottery on those 3 numbers, I don't know who to praise. I don't know who I'm going to start praising. Guys.
I mean, I'll praise whoever if I won the lottery.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So if we're going to go live in just a minute, but if you guys want to change your names, maybe put kind of Roxy. I just copied Roxy. So, I mean, obviously you don't have to write Roxy, but you can if you want.
Oh, I should put where I
We should just all be Roxy. That's what we should be. Just so that way, if people are like come in late and they didn't see what we were talking about, they can kind of figure out where we are.
Nice. Yeah.
Great.
Oh, I need a comma. Do I need a comma? Why not?
I mean, it's up to you. You can be comma free. No pressure.
Semicolon. Oh no, I don't know.
Comma.
The pressure of the comma.
Put a comma.
Make sure all of my devices are turned off. I'm going to click live to Facebook, and we will see what happens. It's thinking. Dun, dun. Brenna, does this make you like super nervous every time you do it?
Okay. Yeah. It's like Schrodinger's Facebook Live. It either will happen or it will not until it happens.
But I really love Jenna's like, Jenna, see, I did it again. Ah! Brenna's approach. She pretends, even though now I know it's pretend, but I like thought it was the coolest thing when I didn't know it was just like, let me fake this till I make this. She sings like lyrics while she's like, do. Oh, we're live. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Sometimes they're inappropriate lyrics.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes. Sometimes they're benign. Sometimes they're Megan Thee Stallion.
All right, it's asking questions. This is good.
Oh, good questions.
I don't know this process. What kind of questions does it ask?
It's
well,
like, what page?
I manage like 14 pages, so I have to.
I imagine your drop-down menu is kind of like, oh shit.
And of course, Queen City's like the last one. So one time I was like, oh my God, it's not there. All right. And then I was like, oh, it's all the way at the bottom. Hold on. All right. We're preparing for our live stream.
Here we go.
We'll see what's happening.
I'm gonna actually real quick. I'm gonna turn on my fan because it's hot.
Roxy is a chair from Virginia.
Seen on many stages in the improv world.
It's a beautiful chair. It looks like it's got an oak leaf motif there.
Mhm.
Maybe just like a spindle shank thing to do the scrolling. I don't know anything about woodworking.
All right, so I'm hitting the go live button. Dun, dun. Let's see what it's said.
We're live.
In Eastwood, you guys. Just
We're live.
I gotta turn on my other device so I know when we're live.
Whew.
We are live.
We are alive. That's what
Alive.
it's telling us. Dun, 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 dun. All right, it says we're live. If you want to go find it, we are live. I can see myself on 2 screens. So, hello world. I guess that's what I'm going to say now every time I come on Zoom is hello world. My name is Carla Dingle. I am with Queen City Comedy, and I am excited because we are doing something brand new, something I called the Global Gab because that sounded cute, and I like things that start with the same letters, and that has a real name, but I'm too dumb to know what that is called. So I'm sure one of these lovelies can fill you in. So since we have really focused on going global this year, what we thought we would do is just spend some time talking to some of the people who have joined our global journey. So today and tonight, depending on where they are, I have invited one member of each of our global improv project teams to come on and just talk a little bit about their journey, what they love about improv, what they love about each other, even though some of them met like 4 minutes ago. But I'm going to start and have them introduce themselves, and then we'll chat for a bit. But if you have questions, the audience, feel free to type them in the chat. And after we talk for a bit, we will go ahead and maybe try to get some of those answered. So I'm going to start with the one, the only.
Brenna Judkins from San Diego, California, and from team Smells Like Ghosts.
Smells Like Ghosts. Fantastic. And next.
It's me. I'm Alex Fredera. I live in Scotland in the United Kingdom, and I am in the wonderful team Close Distance.
Fantastic.
Hi guys, you know me, it's Roxy, and I am in Virginia, which is in the United States, and I am on Team Ridgely.
Fantastic. Well, that's our crew for tonight. And I think most people know me. If you don't, my name is Carla Dingle. I too play on Close Distance, and I have the joy of coaching Team Ridgely. And I substitute coached once for Smells Like Ghosts. That's my connection with all of you lovely folks. So what I thought I'd start off with is have each of you sort of just share your improv world, your improv story. What is your, I keep hearing it called your improv origin story, and that sounds so fabulous. So I will start with whoever wants to go first, but just we'll spend a little time and you can tell us about your improv origin story. Anyone want to start us off?
I nominate Roxy.
Wow, it's a democracy here on the Global Gab. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's all democracy. All right, Roxy, start us off.
Oh, all right. So I started improv in Blacksburg, Virginia, about 3 years ago from the dance studio I was dancing at, actually. So I was at a dance studio in Blacksburg called Little Leapers, and my friend Heather Leaper, who owns the studio, was like, we're starting an improv class because we had someone in our teacher, Steve, he took classes from Second City and owned his own theater out in Chicago and was a professional actor and comedian for a while down there or up there, over there, because it was down. Anyways, so he started teaching classes and he started teaching classes and it was just a little class of anywhere from, at any given time, 3 to 9 students. And we only had one showcase show at the end of our first year. So we did 2 terms. And other than that, then I kind of took a hiatus. And because I moved down to Charlotte. And I saw something on Facebook from Charlotte not Queen City Comedy, Charlotte Comedy Theater. And they were having auditions. So I went, not knowing anyone, not having taken any of the classes through them. And I auditioned, and that's how I met Carla and Kale. And I got placed on 2 teams down in Charlotte. One is still active, Insufficient Funds, and that's coached by Kale Evans. And Kale. And the other is taking a small hiatus right now. We're not practicing, but the last kids picked, we still love them. And now I am part of the Global Improv Project, Team Ridgely, who is coached by the lovely Carla.
Ooh, awesome. Great. Well, thanks for sharing. Brenna, I'm going to nominate you next since you nominated Roxy.
Okay. That's fair. I just had nerves I had to get through for a second, and I threw her out there like a something. Anyway, hi, my name is Brenna. I came to improv when I was at like a really low point. I was having a lot of trouble leaving my house. I was going through really bad depression and anxiety, like agoraphobia, social anxiety, panic attack, kind of fun stuff. And my psychiatrist said maybe we should do some exposure therapy. I really recommend you try doing something that gets you out of the house just for like a set amount of time, and you can do, with some people, and then you're out, and then you can just go home. But it'll just something that you can do for a short amount of time and then leave, but something that helps you get through these feelings. And I thought, well, if I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna do that with something that I've always wanted to do. And I was kind of also at this point where it's like a turning point for me, where I didn't want to do anything anymore that didn't feel authentic to myself. I feel like I had tried to squish myself in a lot of different boxes and always sort of avoided doing performance and stuff like that. I convinced myself that it was not for me. And then I took a free class here at a theater. They did like free monthly taster class, and I did that for 2 hours. And by the end of the class, I was so excited and so just like, I was like, oh my God, these people, I'm not afraid of them. I've had fun with them. It was a big thing to like sit down and talk with people who were like male identifying, because that was something that I was having a really hard time with, was like a fear of men. And I was like, oh, these people are really nice, and I don't feel afraid of them, and I want to keep doing this. So I immediately signed up for a level 1 class, and then I just sort of like never ever looked back.
Great. So thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That was a lot to unpack for us, so I appreciate it. And our first couple of comments were Brenna and hi, and Brenna, why are you so fabulous? So
Why? How?
We will hold that question till later. Why are you so fabulous? So last but not least, let's hear from Alex.
Great. So yeah, I started improv a little while back when I was still in my 20s, which I'm not in my 20s anymore. But I won't name my age because don't do that in England. And I guess I did it for, I guess it was a mush of reasons, but one of the things was that I'd spent a lot of my life, and I guess I still have, doing a lot of sciencey stuff. So I studied science as an undergrad, and then I went on to graduate school doing sciencey stuff. But I always liked doing more expressive stuff as well. So I was in a band for a while. I did a little bit of like very little bits of theatre here and there, and then I was in this band. Really enjoyed it, but then had to stop doing that, and was just really looking for someone to fill that gap. And I had kind of been filling it by getting back into role-playing games, which I'd done a lot when I was an early teenager. And I still recommend it. I still play it a little bit now and then. But I got into those games, and then through that, I met this lovely guy, Graham Walmsley, who was just super fun to play with and was very flexible. And you'd play a game with him, and he'd be managing the game, but he'd say yes a lot, and he'd build on your ideas and all this kind of stuff. And I remember talking to him in the pub, saying, it's a lot of fun playing with you. He said, yes, I did improv. And I was like, because I'd read this book earlier that year, the Keith Johnston book, just called, I think, Impro. And I was like, okay, so the book is interesting. This person has done it, and they're nicer to play with. These things seem to be pointing in a direction, and I'm missing something because I'm not doing the band or this other stuff I was doing. So those things just kind of linked on top of each other. And also, I would say I was in a bit of a low place around that time. I'd left the band because I damaged my back, had quite a serious injury, some breakups and some various stresses. So it did feel like, again, it was something to get me a bit out of a stuck place, was to go along to start doing that. So I went along to classes, a place called the Spontaneity Shop in London, which actually doesn't do improv. It does like corporate improv, I think, a bit, but it doesn't really do public classes anymore, but was great. Very Keith Johnston influence, very story focused, a lot of games and competitive formats, but taught, I think, in a way that will always stick with me, which is you're not really competing, you're playing together. It's like professional wrestling, you're playing at competing, but you're actually working together, which it's something I just really love about improv. It's just so fun to have those meta levels all around it. And just really took to it from then, bounced around quite a lot after that. So that was in London. Spent a while more doing stuff in London, but I moved to Germany for a few years and worked with some groups over there, and a wonderful improv festival, which is actually happening this weekend. So I think the first show.
Plug it.
The Würzburger Impro Theater Festival in Würzburg, in Franken am Main, in the center of Germany. A wonderful city, a wonderful festival. It's been going for, I think this was like year 17 or 18. Really great. They're managing to push forward through COVID. So, props to them. So all that fun stuff. And then I've gradually been moving north since coming back to the UK. So I was living in Newcastle, where I had a lovely gang. We did a lot of stuff together. And I've just kind of moved up to Scotland kind of shortly before COVID. So I haven't done very much here, but I can see there's like a lovely scene, and watch this space, because once things kick back into gear, I'll be all over it.
Well, great. Getting lots of props for some role-playing games in our comments. So yay for that. I've met a lot of people recently that was their intro into improv. So very cool. Well, I guess since this is our first show, I'll share my improv origin story, and then I don't have to do that again. So I think it's just so interesting that how people get into it. But for me, I guess it was one of those points in my life as well. So it started on a cruise ship. And there was Second City Touring Company on a cruise ship, and we went to see one show, and then I drug my husband and child to see every show, even the shows children should not be seeing. But yeah, I did. And then I was turning 40 that year, sort of beginning my mental breakdown. And so I decided if there was an improv class when I got back to Charlotte, that I would sign up and take it. And lo and behold, not only was there, I followed through, which is not always what I do. And I went to the first class, and it was lovely, and I was terrified. And we took a break, and I went to the restroom, and I hid in the restroom for like way longer than the break should be. And then I was like, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. I don't care that I paid for this. What was I thinking? I cannot do this. So when I came out of the restroom, it was the room was in the back of a bar. One of the seasoned improvisers was sort of hanging around like, oh, we were looking for you. Come on in, come on back in. And so I had to right at that point, because that's what I had to do. And I still hold this gentleman near and dear to my heart. He does not do a lot of improv because he's a dad now, but he sort of got me back in. And that was almost 12 years ago. And I will say my better part of my improv journey started in my 50s. And I think that's sort of where I became actually a good improviser, and really sort of exploring the art form of improv versus just making an audience laugh, which I enjoy doing, but I'm finding that the feelings and the enjoyment last longer through the art of it than just the audience's laughter. But hey, I love an audience laughing. So anyway, that is my improv journey. So shout out to PJ Kelly for getting me out of the bathroom, because I would not be here if it was not for him. He probably doesn't even remember. He was probably just coming out of the bathroom at the same time. That's probably the funniest part of the story. So anyway, well, thanks for introducing yourselves. So what I thought we'd do is to start. I have a couple questions here that I thought we'd talk through, and then we have some lovely questions from the audience. I'm excited people are watching, which I thought might just be us. So yay. So my first question is, what type of improv player do you think you are? Like, if you had to qualify yourself, what kind of player are you? What are the things that you think you're really good at? Or if people were like, this is how Brenna plays, and this is how Roxy plays, and Alex plays, what would they say? Brenna?
It's hard for me with feedback that's positive because it's a compliment, and I think as someone who's born a woman, we're not supposed to take compliments. It's not allowed. The men don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just, you're like, and we're not live anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just lost Brenna from the live feed. No, keep going, Brenna.
And about. No, but one of the compliments or one of the pieces of positive feedback that I've been getting since I started doing improv online, is the expressiveness that I can play with, which is a really lovely piece of feedback. And I like to connect to my emotions a lot, and so I think that probably shows through with the expressiveness. And also energy. I get a lot of feedback on energy. Apparently I have some. So that's good.
Awesome. Alex, how about you? What kind of player are you?
So it's interesting because I remember, and this is way back at the Spontaneity Shop, like within the first 6 months or 8 years, we did a kind of feedback circle, and the feedback that I got there, I think still probably holds true. It shows how little I have developed as a performer. but I was told I should work on my physicality, which I still need to do. I think I'm very, very much more a stiff, that kind of Northern European style of talking heads, and it's always a joy to play with people that pull me away from that. But the one thing that comes more naturally to me, they described it as story, like a good story sense. And I guess now that I've done improv in other kind of styles, so maybe a bit more kind of American long form Harold style, I would say it's a bit about the shape of the show. So even if there's not a story, kind of having a bit of a mind for, oh, we need some more of this coming back, or we haven't seen this for a while, but it'd be nice to see that. So the bad part of that is to become sometimes a bit cerebral and sitting back. But I think a nice part of that is sometimes to see kind of what's needed, or when somebody could come in or their thing could return. So I quite like that part of things in me. It's nice to sometimes be shaken out of it, because I think it's one of these things that can tend towards feeling like, oh, I'm a responsible adult and I'm figuring things out, which is that's no fun for anyone. But I think in the appropriate doses, I think it's something that is helpful to a show, and I like doing that.
As someone who plays with you on a long-term form team, I completely see that from you, Alex. And it's really, it's refreshing, because oftentimes I'm like, oh, Alex is going to bring this back. He's got this. And so it's kind of fun to watch it play out. So awesome. Roxy, how about you?
Me, I don't know. I'm a performer first and foremost. I love performing. I've been performing since high school. Stage performing, and so I would assume I think I do a lot more characters. I can do a lot of different accents, but on Zoom doing accents with people you're playing with around the world is petrifying, so I haven't done a lot of that, but that was something I did a lot when we were doing live shows. I use a lot of physicality. Sometimes on Zoom again, it's a little harder, but I try. I really try because I have high energy. I just like, I've heard I have high energy. I have yet to see it. I don't make my bed every day, so I've heard other people tell me that I'm got a keen sense that I can just like, but I'm really, I don't shut up and I don't let it that like I just harp on it too much. So, and I've also been told that I can do shitty improv. So there's a range. There is a range for me. But as a dramatic performer, I have found myself, I think, going more towards being a more dramatic improviser and not necessarily getting to the quippy and to the fast. Although if it presents itself, I'm gonna take my shot because I'm also a steamroller. That is, I've heard that too. So
Great. Everyone's jumping to sign up for a team that Roxy's on. The shitty steamrolling improv. As someone who often plays with Roxy, I don't really think that completely describes her, but I think the dramatic and the high energy and all of that definitely describes her.
I'm just saying what other people have told me, and I take all criticism, not to heart, but like in a good place. So
I think it's important. I think it's important. One of the things I love about improv are notes or side coaching. And so I think, it's really great to help us grow. So that leads me into my next question is, who is a teacher or teachers in improv or gurus, whatever word you want to use, coach that's really left a mark on you? And what was it about their style that really sort of captivated you, if that makes sense? I know now it's like do.
It's like asking who your favorite child is. You can't do that to me.
One to share. I mean, so there's a improv group online whose name I can't remember because there's a lot of them, and they were like, talk about the people that have helped you in like COVID, and some people wrote like one name. My list was like this long, so I totally get that. So, but yeah, someone who's really sort of stood out for you in your journey, I guess. That's anyone have someone?
Yeah, I will say that you and Mandy have both been, Mandy Butler, who is my coach for Smells Like Ghosts. But I wasn't sure when I came into this project, just like how things were gonna work. And she's so, what's the word I want? Maybe fastidious? I'm not sure. Like, she's so mentally organized, and she's probably going to be like, shut up. No, I'm not. And
right now.
that is a great impression, by the way.
But I love her because she always has like at least from the way that I learn or the way that I take in notes and the way that I take in constructive criticism, it's always really, really like finely tuned down to almost exactly what I need to hear. And I have this tendency to be inside my head a lot when I'm thinking like, oh, did I do the right thing? Did I say that? Or like you have that feeling like, oh, I feel like we could have made a different choice there. I'm not sure what it was. And then we'll do notes after. And it's always like, she noticed it. She brings it up. We talk about it. And then it feels like everyone just sort of distills it. And then we move forward and we're better like every single time. And I really appreciate that. And I really love that. I feel like my ability to pick things up in scenes where I'm needed, what I need to do, or what I could do has become a lot more heightened or attuned because of Mandy, and also because of you, Carla. Your style's different than Mandy's. It's different to Mandy's, but there's always just like little nuggets, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but I eat that up.
Good. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad that I can provide you some nuggets. Awesome. Who else has got a teacher that stood out for them?
Yeah, I could go. It's definitely a tough one, and I kind of want to drop a lot of names, but I'm going to go for Becky Johnson, who's a Toronto-based improviser. I think she does a bunch of stuff. She's at Bad Dog Theatre. I think she was at Second City as part of the Second City Toronto, doing a lot of stuff with them as well. But I know her from her duo, the Suffragettes, who did a lot of touring in Europe, and took some classes with her as well. And I guess there's a couple of reasons I would name her. One is that she was the first person to kind of seriously impress the value of clown training for an improviser in me, because she has done a lot of clown training and work, and kind of explained why it might be relevant, but also demonstrated that through like the training that she did, which was like just another level of, I guess, honesty about what spontaneity actually is on stage, and seeing people get, with love and care, but kind of taken apart for improvising, but you can see the same old stock things happening again and again, and actually getting us to really recognize that there's real things already happening. That she was, I think, one of the first people to really demonstrate that. And that took me, I think, on quite a path. Like I this is now cheating a bit, but like it took me to other teachers like Aitor Bathauri from Spain, who's like a wonderful clown and melodrama teacher as well, and learning melodrama, which is like a super specific, weird set of skills that also I think lifts and adds something new to improv. Dr. Brown, who's American clown, and a bunch of other people. I think I wouldn't have gone on that path except for her. And then the other thing I say is I just think she's one of the funniest people I've ever seen on stage in my life. Like belly laughs of like disgust, that kind of like, I can't believe this is happening on stage, but I'm laughing along with it. She's just brilliant, so I'd name her.
And for those of you guys watching, I will try to find links to some of these fabulous people so that you can figure out where they're teaching and stuff. And if you have fabulous teachers, put them in there so that we are sharing that with all the community. Roxy, how about you? Who's a teacher that's left a mark on you?
Oh my gosh, you, like, I'm just gonna say everything Brenna said. You and Mandy, I 100% like have taken me as women in this art form. I think it's interesting. I think the first time ever, like, we can be more on stage than just like than the men can be. Like, we can drive the whole entire scene or show, and you don't find that often in like just regular life, or jobs, or in play, in art. So you both being such intelligent and giving and just phenomenal women, and then just letting us know, like, giving us, like Brenna said, like these nuggets of okay, but what if you just did this? Or Mandy is super direct. She's like, listen, girl, she's got that twang, and she's just like, I'm a gymnast and I don't mess around, and you can do this better. Warm-ups are done. Bring your A game. Stop doing shitty improv. And yeah, straight up, that's what she told me. And I love her for it, and I love her directness, because it's not wrong. It's very true. Yeah. It just you both drive us to a point where there is more. We can give more, and we have more to offer, and we have more to play with. So you both have just been the inspiration to me wanting to take more classes and be on more teams, and or just keep doing this. And I mean, I've taken a lot of workshops through Queen City Comedy that I'm just like, oh my God, I got to take a workshop with Jay Suko and David Escobedo, and I'm just like, like a nerd. I'm just like, because they're so great. But for women like you and Mandy to be in it like full force and giving us this platform and opportunity is just beyond words, and I'm forever grateful for you guys.
Thanks. I'm going to deflect all the attention off of me because that's what I do in life and share who's left to mark on me, which is Paul Valancourt. His book, The Triangle of the Scene, changed every piece of improv for me. I still don't know if I'm very good at that part of it, but it just inspires me. And I feel like just that whole idea of you bringing yours and someone else bringing theirs together and then just playing it over and over again, it just creates such amazing energy on screen and really keeps people on the same page. And once I realized that, I feel like I became a much less selfish improviser. And so he was like a huge big deal for me. And he did our very first guest workshop at Queen City Comedy. And afterwards, true story, several of the faculty members had to like stay afterwards after he left and like just breathe because we were like hyperventilating because we were so excited. And we're like, did we act like total fools? And Kale was like, not total fools. So true story. Well, good. Well, I have a few more questions, but we have some awesome questions from the audience. So thank you for those of you guys who are watching. Laura, who is going to be on our next episode, Laura from England. I forget where in England. Not that it's a vast country, but the names are so interesting. She said, what was your most memorable light bulb moment when you were doing an improv class or show? What was your light bulb moment when you were doing an improv class or show? And I've been looking at that question for a while, so I don't want to take anyone's answers, but if you don't have one, I have an answer. Bren, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
I saw that question come through and I've been thinking about it since I saw it because I was like, oh, that's hard. I was like, can I even pinpoint anything? That's why I write these things down when they happen too, because I'm like, I'm going to want to remember this and then I just don't. Something for me, I can't really like pinpoint it specifically, but something happened where I went from like constructing like an emotion or an emotional reaction. Like I would be like, oh, well, what would my character do? And then I was like, well, I am my character, so whatever happens, whatever flies out of my face, that's fine. And just like, and I think that's probably taken a couple of times, but it is something that has led me to being more like vulnerable with my emotions. And that seems to create good things with other people who are also vulnerable with their emotions.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Who else has a light bulb moment? Let's get Roxy.
It hasn't happened during the show, but afterwards, going back, the greatest thing about doing things virtually is you get to see them now forever because they're out there, and just replaying them. And that's the way I actually learn about myself a lot more, and just remember, oh, I could have done that, or how I can lead up to it more quicker. And so an aha moment, I think, came early. It was actually on stage, but it wasn't until afterwards. I was like, man, I threw somebody like under the bus, really. Like I just, not the steamroller in me. No, I don't know. But I threw somebody under the bus and I was just like, man, but they just bounced back and just gave me something that I wasn't expecting. And they played it to their height of their intelligence. And I was just like, wow, that is exactly what I need to do, or what I would like to do, and how I would like to play. How do I do that? How do I not be so, because for me, a lot of things, when I play, I play from truth and I play from experience. So it can be very defense mechanism, and I just attack. So I've learned not to do that. Come play with me. I swear, I'm better now. I swear. A lot of the times, even live, when it's just in the moment, and then I get on the attack. But then for someone to come at it in a perspective that's out of genuine like love and sincerity, and just completely opposite of what you're expecting, that just flip the switch in me and be like, oh, that's it. That's good stuff. That's theater. That's more than just a laugh. That is art. So that's what happened with me.
Awesome. Alex, how about you?
The things coming to my mind are around working with another person who I guess is quite a guru or an inspiration, which is David Rosowski, from the US, from LA, I think now. And he would talk a lot. And I remember taking first classes with him and being fascinated, but really struggling to get my head around his particular philosophy. And one thing he talked about a lot was this idea of blowing up the balloon, which, you know, in one sense, I guess just mean like building tension in some way. But I remember working with him, and both in some classes and also class shows doing together, finding these moments where absolutely all that you needed to do was just stay with the thing that was already happening, almost like grabbing a thread, and you're just like, I'm just pulling this thread and really slowing down. I remember, I don't know if I can swear on this, probably not, hey?
Go for it.
Can I? So I was in a scene with a lovely improviser called Arthie Mansfield in the UK. You know Arthie? Yeah, he's great. And we were in a scene, and I can't quite remember how we got into the topic, but the topic was that someone started talking about like fucking, like what's with all the fucking or something like that. And it fell into this thing where my character, it just said, and when does the fucking start? And we played 3 or 4 minutes of him patiently saying, firstly, when people love each other very much, they might meet in a coffee shop or a park. And then I would say, and is that the fucking? And then he'd say, no, that's not the fucking. And then we just went on like this, and it was like maybe 4 minutes of every time there was a pause, there'd be a pregnant pause. And I go, and that's then the fucking, yes? And he goes, and I swear, after it ended, like I nearly had an aneurysm with laughing, and it was just beautiful. And it was one of those things where it didn't feel like mining for laughs. It wasn't like it was just like, we're in this thing, the balloon, this is a balloon that wants to go slow, and you just stay with it. And it was just, yeah, I guess we all grab these snatches, and they're so beautiful to savor, where it feels like the scene is doing the work and we're not doing any work at all. And I think that was one time I had a little light bulb where I had a bit more of a sense of how I could contribute to that, which is in a way by not trying, you know, all that classic improv stuff. But I think that was a particular, light bulb moment for me.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, swear away. It's fine. It's whatever. I will say for me, mine is really quick. I actually took an acting class with Vincent D'Onofrio, and anyone who's taken an improv class with me is probably sick of this. Huge character actor, like 6'4", but he's actually just a fantastic teddy bear. And he talked the whole time about just listen to your tummy. Listen to your tummy. What's your tummy telling you? What's your heart telling you? And I was like, what? And I'm like, what is this man talking about? And then when it connected, it was just, it's lifelong lesson for me, and it's just been so powerful for me as I move forward. So kids, so we have some more questions. I'm assuming this question is for Kale, or somebody's from Kale, or someone's hacked the Queen City account. That says, what is one of the most encouraging things anyone has said to you? One of the most encouraging things anyone has said to you. I'm assuming improv related, but it could be life related. Like, wow, you really know how to pick out a cantaloupe. I have no idea what's encouraging to you. You decide. Brenda?
I'm sorry, I just keep going. Hey, I'll go. I'm making up for earlier, Roxy, when I threw you out there. I two things. One is my dad is not a super talkative person, and he's seen me doing a lot online. He didn't see me do improv before when it was on a stage, but he's seen me do some online. And he and I and my sister and my daughter, we all share a house. And he was going up the stairs one night, and he turned as he was going up the stairs to go to bed, and he goes, you know, I'm really proud of you for putting yourself out there. And I was like, okay, thanks. Like, and that felt really, really good. Just because I don't think I've ever done anything in my life that like was obvious that I was super gung-ho about it and like super into it and super excited and just like nerdily obsessed. And it was nice that he noticed that, and I felt encouraged by that. And then the other thing is just, and I know that he's probably everybody's cheerleader, but David Escobedo. David, I'm gonna stop talking about you in live shows someday. I swear to God, I know you don't like it, but or do you? I don't know. But he's just always like I'll check in with him sometimes, and he'll be like, "You're doing amazing. You're doing the thing. You're so great." And I'll be like, "Thanks, David." And then I have to go to my room for like a day and not know how I feel about that because compliments. But it's nice.
Yeah, no, David is a big cheerleader for many of us. So I know we all, some of us met through David. So very exciting. So good. Who else? What is one of the nicest things or someone said about you or to you?
I could just speak to. I did a summer school at the Loose Moose Theatre in Calgary in Canada, and it was nice. It was kind of tough. Like it's one of those things you're all together all the time. You're doing improv. You can feel a bit exposed and stuff. So it was really nice that at the end we got a chance to kind of like write like little messages to each other and say the nice things that we liked. And I remember the thing. I'm not saying. They had to say nice things, right? So that alone isn't the encouragement, but there was kind of a theme that I liked, which was people saying that they felt like, I guess, safe, or they felt like they could have a good time when they were having a scene with me, and that's something, I guess, not having come from much of a performance background and sometimes struggling with some of the some of the energy or some of the versatility, let's say, the actor's versatility, and coming in a bit more as just somebody who likes to make stuff up. It was really nice to know that still provided like a useful foil or useful partner for some of these other folks. So some of them were like, hilarious comedians or great actors and actresses. So it was nice to feel that at that point when I was getting a bit in my head, that I wasn't like being a burden and dragging them down, but just by showing up and just being kind of nice to work with, that could be a nice thing. So
great. Roxy?
I just love performance in general. People have always said that I always bring joy to the stage, and one of the nicest compliments I think I've ever gotten was people just say that just being in an ensemble, for the most part, they watch me and they love to see me just light everything up. And even though, I'll get the note many times when I'm on stage, like, stop pulling the focus away from the leads. And I'm like, listen, we know that they're good, but I'm back here making up my own story, and I'm back here having the time of my life on stage. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. But the joy that I got after actually doing an improv show in Charlotte, one of my first improv shows, a girl came up to me afterwards. It was a gaggle of girls, and they were all so precious. And they were all like, you were our favorite, and I feel like I can do this. And I was like, you can do this. You should do this. So being that platform of showing other women that they can be funny, or they can be inspirational, or they can be anything they want to be, and they can definitely have that inspiration to give it to somebody else, is what I love the most.
Good. Well, I'm going to try to run through a couple more questions. We won't get through them all. Sorry, guys. But what I'll do is I'll ask these guys if they have a chance, they can go answer them in the comments. But this one is from Denise, who is one of our newer improv students. And she would like to know, what is something that you struggle with or don't like about improv?
Yes. Yeah.
I can start because I struggle with like I don't know what you call these forms, but they're like super organic and flowy, and it just makes my brain break, and I don't feel like I'm providing enough for the people on stage with me. So I need more of a relationship and more of a story and more of a format. Then let's just see where this all goes. And I don't mean like a montage. I mean like you're a flower right now, and you will slowly turn as the wind blows. And I'm like, what? That would be me. Anyone else?
Well, I can jump in just to say I quite like that stuff, so it's so interesting.
I love that people love it though. That's
yeah.
I love that
fantastic.
stuff.
Yeah. But I would say that one thing that that I don't, it's not so much I don't like, but again, it's maybe a trap for me, is that highly structured formats, I think, encourage my like puzzle nerd brain to threaten to come out and jump all over, you know, the rest of the improviser in me. So I mean, even for example, the Harold, like sometimes when I'm doing that, I can find myself being like a little bit heady. And definitely I was in like a narrative group for a while, and we did some great work, but only kind of after we realized that we had to like abandon all our a lot of our like grand narrative structure stuff, because especially people like me would just get so in our heads that I think I became less nice to be around, because I'd be like, well, actually, we should have done that in scene 4 instead. And it's like, oh my God, sucking all the fun out of this. So yeah, so for me, that's something I don't like so much, is my temptation to, yeah, like turn to that dark side, if you will, that overheady side. So yeah, it's good when I'm pushed out of it.
Okay. So I'll just make you a flower in our next improv scene, and the wind will blow Alex. All right. Roxy, Brenna, either of you guys?
For me, I don't like sometimes where, yeah, I get in it, like if I get an inspiration to do something and I know where I'm going in my head, but then somebody will take it somewhere different. And I'm just like in my head, I don't do it anymore, but like, you know, trying to steer it just letting go is the hardest part. It really is, because if you steer it, yeah, it's just going to be an argument. But a lot of times I would just be in my head being like, it would have been cooler if they just went with my lead. But, you know, it is what it is. And those are all rookie mistakes. And I won't say that my head brain still doesn't think, because sometimes I play logically. Sometimes I just follow it logically. And then when somebody just takes it to the absurd and it's just illogical, like my brain is just like, okay, dummy, what? But that's just me being a bad human being. So
We're learning so much about Roxy today. Brenna, why don't you tell us what you hate in improv?
What's something I hate?
Doing scenes with Roxy. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Just kidding.
we actually had a really
I
great
know.
10 minutes so that we had a lot of fun because it got really absurd and I really liked it.
She's embracing the absurdity. She's getting there.
Yeah.
getting there.
She's getting there. I think my least favorite thing in improv is probably too much structure. I have this tendency to also get sort of like up in my head. I remembered when I was learning Herald, and I would love to learn the Herald again. I think with structures or forms, I like to learn them from a couple different people, maybe a couple different times, just because I'm not good at reading books. It's not that I'm illiterate. It's just I get bored. So I with structures, I think I also get bored. So I get this thing where I'm like, oh, well, it has to go this way. So now I'm going to shove myself in this box and make sure it goes this way. And then I just start to feel kind of stifled, I think, by it. And maybe I'll feel differently like in a couple of years, like maybe that'll change. But right now I feel stifled by it and I don't like that feeling.
Good. I think this is helpful for people to hear that we all have struggles, right? Like I think sometimes you watch people on stage and you think it's just like so seamless, and inside our heads there's a whole different world happening. So I think this is great to share that with folks. So, well, I have one more improv question, and then we'll sort of wrap up if that's good with you guys. What is advice you would give to your younger improv self? Advice you would give to your younger improv self. So back when you started, what if you could tell that person something now? What would you tell them?
I can go because this was asked recently on a forum that I'm on, so I've got it fresh in my head. And it would be two quick things. One would be plant your feet, by which I mean I had a habit for a long time of kind of shuffling on stage, like nervous shuffling, and all the energy. And I never realized until I stopped doing it how much that's kind of like losing the energy and losing your gravity, both for serious or for comedy, because everything was just fluffing about. So staying still, if you don't need to move, staying still, that one thing I think made me a much better improviser, but it took me years to get that note. So I just give it to me on the top. And the other one was keep enjoying it, because I think when I began, that's one thing that I had in spades was I was just like, my mind was blown by this thing. And I think that's one thing that you can sometimes lose a little along the way. As you get a bit more seasoned, it becomes a bit less special. So just to keep trying to remind yourself that this is amazing, and yeah, just like a magical thing that we get to be part of.
And I feel like for me, online improv has just rejuvenated my joy in improv. So I love that message. Brenna, how about you?
What was the question again? Something
What
I would
would you
tell my
tell
younger self. I was like
your
so there
improv
for
younger
it.
self?
Yes. What would I tell year and a half ago me? I would say take more workshops. Just because I think when you get started, I don't know how everybody everyone sort of comes to it differently and educates themselves through improv differently. I did a 6-level program. And while I think that is awesome for foundations, I think it's also really important to keep hearing other people's voices, to keep hearing other improvisers' voices. Take classes from a lot of people. Like, don't just get stuck into one mode of thinking or one culture of improv. Like, improv itself is this huge, different, funky thing. And there are so many people with so many different perspectives and worldviews. And especially now that everything is online, oh my God, you could take so many workshops. So do it.
Roxy, how about you?
I would say keep listening and you won't drop it. Keep listening. Just listen harder. If when in doubt, listen. Shut your mouth and listen.
Oh, okay.
And that's still a lesson I can tell Roxy now.
We can all do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Well, thank you guys. I have 5 questions I'm going to ask you real quick. Huge fan of the Fab Five from Queer Eye I guess it's just Queer Eye now. So I have 5 fab questions to ask you as fast as you can. So a little information about you guys. What is your favorite board game?
Oh, I like Trivial Pursuit.
I've got a super fun game at the moment called King Ludwig's Mad King Ludwig's Castles, where you build little castles. It's cool.
Oh, neat.
Awesome. Roxy?
I would say Ticket to Ride.
Oh,
Ticket to Ride's good too.
that's great.
I'm a classic Monopoly girl. All right. Favorite food?
So tough.
God.
I'll just say a Korean bibimbap because.
Oh, yes. So good. I was going to say sushi. I love sushi. I like, just all sushi. It's delicious.
I love everything about food. Unless they're olives, I'm not saying no. I don't know. I would have to say my favorite food is a Paraguayan dish. It's just a bread and it's called chipa. And I will eat those all day until it hurts and then eat more.
Great. My favorite food is cake. That's what I'll say, cake. And if you add ice cream to it, like it was like a kid's birthday party, I've died and gone to heaven. All right, favorite movie of all times, or just favorite movie you can think of right now.
Big Lebowski.
Ooh, Big Lebowski, good.
Mine
just
has.
gonna-
Go ahead, Alex.
I'll just go for the Blues Brothers because it jumped in my head.
Good.
Nice. My favorite movie has and always will be Gone with the Wind, even though it's canceled. I love everything about the protagonist, Scarlett O'Hara. I think everything she says at the end of Act 1, where she's like, I don't care if I have to lie, steal, cheat, or kill. No, me or more kin will never go hungry again. And she does all of those things in the first 5 minutes of the second act. And I'm like, she's not fucking around. Power. And I love it.
My favorite movie, I'll go with Love Actually. Love Actually.
Oh,
All right, favorite musical artist or band?
BTS.
Duran and Wham. I can't choose.
Tough. I'll go for Texas Is the Reason,
Oh,
old emo band.
Ooh, ooh.
I'll have to go with New Order.
okay. I love that we're all over the place. All right, my last question. Your guilty pleasure, your favorite guilty pleasure.
Twilight movies.
Yeah. They're good. They're good.
It's like, what did I get myself in? All right, mine would be Grease 2. The best
my
horror
God.
movie ever. I'm sorry, I just watched it again last night. I'm so ridiculous.
I love that more than the first one.
Any other
I've got to say, Louis Theroux documentaries for me have been like a guilty pleasure because some of the stuff is so weird, but it's compelling.
Roxy?
For me, it is Dateline. Dateline on OWN. I know how it always ends. Someone's still dead. But at the next day when I get up in the morning, because it's on OWN, Dr. Phil is on, and I'm like, no! Ah! But I can't not change the channel. Before.
Got it. Good. All right. And last, how about each of you guys plug your upcoming shows? Alex is like, when is our show? Oh my goodness, let me check and see. They're all checking their calendars. They're all checking their calendars right now.
It's November 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
That is correct. Brenna, you win $10.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Queen City Comedy Cash. I don't even know what that is. Kale's at home right now, like, what is Carla giving away?
Get a juice box and a fruit roll up.
Roxy, how about you?
Ours is, I'm pretty sure it's November 7th and 8th, just depending on time zones. It is at, let me give you the right time. I think it's at 9.
It's at 9 p.m.
Just be
Eastern.
on Facebook from 8 till 11.
There you go. Great.
Okay, great. And our show, Close Distance, off the top of my head, I think it's the 15th of November at, let's say, 12 p.m. EDT, 5 p.m. BST, 6 p.m. CEST, 6 p.m. SAST, 7 p.m. IDT, and 9:30 p.m. IST, I guess.
Fantastic. So if you missed any of those dates or they got them wrong, it's all on our Facebook page. And these shows are live on our Facebook page and they live on our Facebook page. So first of all, guys, thank you so much for coming and doing this thing that nobody's ever done before. I had such confidence in you guys. We scheduled a second one, November 3rd. We're actually going to have 3 of our students on. So we're going to have Siddharth from India, Laura from England, and Jay from the Philippines. So we'll kind of get a little bit more of some student perspective, a little more global. It's got all different times, but it's 10 a.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. Philippines time, 5 p.m. British, well, it'll be Greenwich Mean Time then, and 7:30 Indian Standard Time. So we'll put that up right after this show. We'll put links to all these awesome instructors where you can find them and these awesome people. So I will leave you with this lovely quote. Since I am in America, an election is coming up. Just do it for your country. Courtesy of you. Thank you guys for watching. I am going to end our live feed, and everyone have a good evening, night, whatever. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. I thank you guys so much. I think we're not great. We're not live anymore.
Yeah, we're not live
Thank you
anymore.
guys so much. That was super fun. I didn't think we'd go an hour. I didn't want to go too much longer because it's like 11 o'clock at night for Alex, and he probably
That's
has to work.
kind. It was super fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
It
Yeah.
went by real fast. That didn't
Uh,
seem like
there's-
an hour.
Tons of comments in there. Assad is like, Carla is blinking every 4 seconds. I'm like,
Yeah.
stop putting those things in there. What now? I'm like watching my eyes the whole time.
He's such a
I'm a
butt.
big blinker. I'm a big blinker. I have a little light sensitivity, and then I have like 2 ring lights on my face. So, but it's funny that people are pointing that out. But I thought this was fun.
Mhm.
So thank you
Indeed.
guys for doing this. And it was fun to learn stuff about you all that I didn't know before, and some great questions in the audience. There are more questions. If you have a chance, feel free to answer them, but don't feel obligated. And if you want to tell Assad that I do blink a lot, feel obligated to do that. So
He called you. I don't think you were in the group chat that this was in, but he called you Queen yesterday. He called you Queen Carla.
what? He's taken one class with me, like
He
one,
loves you.
one
He
drop in
adores.
class. So, well,
He
yeah,
adores you.
I somehow got involved in this world of improv, which is like all these amazing people. And he was like, would you like to be in it? I'm like, okay. At first, I didn't even know who you are. I mean, I did because I watched him on Extreme Improv and
Right.
stuff, but that was my only thing that I knew him from. But it's interesting. I used to be the improv stalker. That's what I call myself, where I'd be like, I'm just going to ask these fabulous people to be my friends and see if they will. Like I've been friends with like Will Hines for 3 years. He has no damn clue who I am. I mean, he does now because he's doing a workshop for us. Just so you guys know. But now, like, I feel like maybe I'm starting to be that for people, and I don't feel like I deserve it. But I get these requests, and I'm like, I don't know these people, but they know people that I know. So me needs to say yes to this friend request because I feel like I would have wanted that when I was starting out and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
You are that person.
You are.
Oh my
You
god.
are.
I don't know. Thank
Are
you guys
that-
so much. This was so fun. It was fun to just talk shop versus just
Mhm.
do improv. I love
Yeah.
to do improv, and we could do improv anytime. I
Oh,
went back
yeah.
and forth, like, do we do some improv? Do we not do some improv? But I was like, it's just fun to chat about it and stuff. So, and now
Talk show
Alex
time.
knows more about Roxy than he could possibly
Yeah.
have wanted.
It's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to come and play with you.
Oh, that didn't scare you away?
Not at all.
Good.
It
Yes.
shouldn't.
Yes. I'm excited too. Yay. I know. I was like, Brenna knows me. I mean, and Carla knows me, obviously. So it's fun when other people are like, whoa, this chick's a lot. I don't know. Let's hear
I
all
think
Brenna.
I think that often the nicest combination is to play with somebody who's got a bit of a different energy or a different style. So if I play with somebody who is too much like me, I think it would be a bit boring, basically, like a little bit flat. So it's nice to play with somebody who can like bring something different, and then you're kind of playing, complementing a bit more. So
Yeah, I'm excited for whenever all 3 shows have their debuts. Well, It Smells Like Ghosts is the last one to have their debut. And then we can all start playing together, maybe, Carla?
Well, Kale just put something out, and he'll share it with this group. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday is just a jam for the folks in the teams that's going to be part of a festival. So we'll do it, and it'll be part of a festival. So yeah, so hopefully. But we have jams, so people are coming to jams, so you guys can always do that as well. Alex, I had to laugh when you said that people like to play with you. After your audition, and we were talking about everyone, like literally all 4 of the people judging the audition were like, oh my god, I want to play with him. Like that was their first response. So like, this is somebody I want to play with. Like immediately, that was like the feedback that everyone gave. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, Alex, you missed the first audition, but I don't care. Just come audition anyway. So I thought that
thank
was
you for
like
doing that.
super
Yeah.
spot on. Of course. So I just adore all of you guys, and thank you for being my guinea pigs, because you were like, what am I agreeing to? Some people watched it, and there's some comments, so we'll do another one, and we'll see what happens there. So
It's gonna be awesome.
Amazing.
Well, I'm down to hang if you guys want, but don't feel like you have to stay because I know it's super late for Alex.
I can hang another 5-10.
Yeah, let's chat some
Yeah,
more.
hang out like 5 minutes. Yeah.
What else is going on? What's going on in your worlds? How's things?
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
Brenna's got a date.
Shut up!
Spill the beans.
I know Alex.
Here I go, throwing her
I
under
did
the
not know this, Brenna. We were just talking and you didn't tell me.
Date number 4.
With the same person?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we've met online, socially distanced, and then we're like, oh, I like you. I like you too. Oh, yeah. You're great. We should get a COVID test so we can like hang out more. Okay, yeah. So like,
The
updated.
COVID tests are like replacing STD tests,
Yes.
whatever they're calling it now. Because like first you have to start with the COVID test before you can even like it's like the new dating test. Like,
Yeah.
do you have your COVID results? Right? But
Yeah.
it used to be like, do you have gonorrhea? Right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, as long as you don't have COVID, gonorrhea is good, right? So
Yeah. I'm fine with a little,
does gonorrhea even exist anymore?
God.
chlamydia.
treatable. Yeah. COVID, not
exist
yet.
anymore.
Yeah, STDs don't seem so bad now
This
compared
is what
to
happens when you've been married for like 23 years. You have no ideas. No idea. So
Oh, it's nice though. Where
where are we going? Where are we going?
I'm going to his house.
Test. They got their COVID test.
He's making a pizza. I made a salad. We'll hang out. It'll be nice.
It will be.
Nothing
You
else
eat
will
his
happen.
pizza and he eats your salad. I see where this is going. Yeah.
I wanted Alex to be like, is that what we call
Is,
fucking?
is that what the fucking? And then the fucking?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to forget that now, Alex. It's gonna be in my head.
Feel Alex
Oh.
in her head going, hello, are we there yet? Are we there
And now the fucking.
yet?
Yeah. So when you're laughing, you'll be no. Something.
No, you don't understand this guy that I know. And he'll be like, "What?" And I'll be like, "No, it's."
This is what happens when you talk to improvisers. Even in normal conversations, we have callbacks. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the
Totally.
fucking. Mm.
Well, now that we've thoroughly embarrassed Brenna, anyone else
Thank
have
you.
anything exciting going on in their lives?
Oh, I'm going.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm going camping this weekend
Ooh.
at Grayson Highland Park, which is Southwest Virginia, and it's where the wild ponies are. So I'll get to see some wild ponies.
Ooh, do some video. I want to see some wild ponies.
Okay, I
See the
will.
wild ponies. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll
Such
show
an
you some wild
animal
ponies.
person. I'm such an animal person.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous spot. It's like the highest elevation in Virginia. So so it's the top of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it's car camping, like thank God, because I don't do like regular camping. Like I cannot sleep on the ground. I will sleep in a car. I told myself I'd stop sleeping in cars, but I will do it for the ponies.
Let's
Do
do
it for
it
the ponies.
for the ponies.
How do you do car camping? Are you in like a sleeping bag that's sitting upright? Like, what's the practicalities of
Well,
that?
the back of the car will
Uh-huh.
be put down, and
Uh-huh.
so I will have a sleeping bag, and it will just be in the very back, like
That sounds good.
the seats come down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm going with an avid, like a friend of mine. She is an avid backpacker and a hiker, so she she will take care of everything. She knows everything. She has like every jacket for every degree of weather. So I'm in good hands. Like as long as I don't have to sleep on the ground, I'm okay.
Yeah, I could do it. I could sleep in the back of a car, but I'm too old for the ground. It's gonna take a couple of people to get me off the ground if that happens. So.
Like the ground.
How about you, Alex? Anything exciting happening?
No. Well, I guess the main thing is that my so I'm at the moment studying and doing work placements for the training I'm doing in clinical psychology, and I've just moved to a new placement last week in learning disabilities. So I'm starting with a new department, meeting new members of staff, new supervisor, and yeah, there's not much to say. It's all been really nice. Everyone's really friendly, and I think the work is going to be super interesting. Everything's quite complex. Like I got given a file for one of my patients, and it's like this thick, and there's like like paperwork from like 1989 going like every 2 months, like 1989 March, April, June, September. Like there's just like a ton of information to kind of process, but I think really interesting, and the people there seem to be really into the work they do, so it feels like a good place to be.
Yeah, I think that's important too, right? Like the people that are still passionate about what they're doing, because as soon as they're not, it's really tough to be around.
Yeah.
I have a question for Alex. Like, so you work with people with disabilities, like learning disabilities?
Yeah, so the way that my training works, I'm trained to be a clinical psychologist, and in the UK you do like a 3-year training course, but you do get you're salaried as well, so you're working and training, so you don't get a load of debt. Basically, it's good.
Cool.
But they I guess they get their money's worth, but it's still a really good deal. And you do kind of different, like a bit like Doctor Do, like a rotation. You go into like different areas to do stuff. So this is my learning disability placement. So that'll be for 6 months. And then after that, I won't do that again for another couple of years. And unless I get a job in that area, I might never do it again. But they make sure you get like a taste of like all the different key areas as they see it. So yeah, so we'll see. It seems super interesting. I don't know whether it will be what I end up in, but for now, it's all I'll be doing. So.
Do you have a key area that you're sort of feeling like you're gravitating towards?
Well, I'm kind of in Scotland and maybe a few places in England, they have this scheme where when you get a position, you can get a general position or like a specialist position, just basically based on whether they think they'll need people in that area in a few years' time or not. So I'm in the older adults alignment, they call it. So they expect and hope that when I graduate, that's what I'll go on to do. I don't have to, but a lot of my training is focused on that. So my entire first year and my entire third year will be mostly or older adult focused. So probably that's what I'll end up in, or maybe something related. Like I find health really interesting. So working with people who've got health conditions like multiple sclerosis and things like that, that might be another interest, which is kind of related because older people often have more of those health conditions, and yeah, there's kind of an overlap.
I'm going to have
challenges.
to introduce you to Dr. West. These ladies know Dr. West.
Oh!
He did his manuscript for Improvist therapy book that he's been working on.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, and he lives in like the largest retirement community in the world as well. So he's fantastic. He's amazing. I hooked him up with David because I was like, he wanted to like run some of his stuff by like, he's like, are there like practitioners of improv and like and I was like, oh, well, let me hook you up with David. And then Mandy, who's our other faculty member, and then EB, who's also our faculty member, they both work with medical improv education. So like they train doctors to use improv for bedside manners and stuff. So he was connecting with some of them, but I'll have to reach out to him. I have class with him Sunday, so I'll reach out to him and I'll get his details. And
please do.
Yeah, you'll love him.
I just remembered Wes is he's one of my light bulb moments, and I totally forgot it when we were on the thing. Ugh, it's okay. He's amazing.
David put something on my Facebook page one time, like, if Carla ever recommends working with somebody, go for it, do it. And that was who he was referring to. So
yeah.
I'm sure, because it was like right after, and I was like, oh yeah. So your lives are more exciting. Let me tell you my excitement of my life right now, because it's ridiculous. We have Disney Plus. You guys know what Disney Plus is?
Yes.
We have National Geographic Channel on there. And I just finished a series called Meet the Chimps. And it's like the Kardashians of animals. It's hysterical. Like the last episode is a paternity test for chimpanzees. And they're voting on it. And it was so fun to watch. And it was just so interesting just because of the hierarchy and like the system dynamics. Anyway, that is how I spent my day watching Meet the Chimps. You should watch it. They're fantastic. But it's a sanctuary in Louisiana where former lab subjects now live. So
Are they like super smart?
They are, and like it's funny because they sterilize them all because they don't want to like turn other animals away, but somehow a baby came, and she's so adorable. And anyway. It's just ridiculous. It's just fun. But they do this whole point. What reminded me of that too, Alex, was they have like I forget what they call it, but they have like an area where it's just the older chimpanzees, and they did like a retirement party for him. It was hysterical. And the one chimpanzee likes to look at herself, so they put her picture up, and she just stood there and is like watching herself on the. It's just amazing. Like, I don't know. I'm just so intrigued by animals, but it's like 6 episodes. You don't have to give your whole life away for it, but I just say it's just fun.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
I love behavior. I love animal behavior and human behavior, but like animal behavior is so
And they're just
fascinating.
so you can see through all this just like how close they are to us. Like even the training they do so that they can help with their own medical stuff is like amazing. So like they teach them to like put their leg out and do physical therapy, and like it's just insane like what they're capable of. So
Wow.
So that's what I do when I'm not doing improv. I watch animal shows. I have addiction to reality shows and animal shows, but not the Real Housewives. Technically, I don't, or the Kardashians. More, yeah. So.
Do you pick up like character? I have a friend who likes to watch reality TV because she picks up people's like characteristics and mannerisms and accents and stuff, and that's why she loves it so much. She's like, I really love it, but I get this out of it. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
No, I don't think I watch it for that reason.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible impressionist. That's my thing. Like people are forever like, Carla's going to play this celebrity. I'm like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be horrible.
I like the characters you come up with, though. They're
Somebody
fun.
wanted me to play like Christopher Walken one time, and I was like, really? There's no way in hell I can pull this off. So I was like just a dude named Christopher, and I just kept walking around the stage.
Yeah. I'm walking here.
Hey!
Walk in here.
Don't call me Chris. My name is Christopher, and I'm walking. And they were like, you're so ridiculous, Carla.
2 mice.
Oh, I do have something to plug that I'm very excited about.
Tell
So
us.
I work with adults with autism and other disabilities, and I teach them improv and theater. And we're doing a Halloween show on Monday for the town hall. So they do a town hall like to go through what everybody's doing. And we're doing the Monster Mash, and they all got their costumes today. And we all did a dress rehearsal, and they're so good. So good. They they're precious, and I love them all. And it's just improv in the sense that like, okay, just teach them in the sense because with their disabilities or their learning capacities, they can't really have things scripted and memorize them. So it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna roll with whatever. And then like last night, 2 nights ago, we had it was last night. One of the guys is supposed to be the Grim Reaper, and he didn't have like